Apple Face ID is supposed to be a very accurate, very revolutionary, unless you use Android phones sometimes, technology in which people's faces will be able to unlock things, access their personal information. The only problem is it racist? And I say that in a little high voice, kind of jokingly, but in the past, facial recognition technology has had a racial bias in that it does not work on black people. Yeah, so you may remember in 2009 when an HP webcam failed to recognize any black people, register them at all on the facial recognition. And in 2015, Google, a huge company, Google Photos facial recognition categorized black people as gorillas. So yeah, that's messed up. I hear scoffing around here. Apple needed to not fuck this up, to pardon my language, and
I feel like that's an appropriate language to be used right now, because honestly, it's almost like quality assurance was asleep that day or really didn't care.
You didn't test it on any black people,
like
is what that tells me.
How does that happen? When it's a world market,
I think I know exactly how it happened, which is what they didn't test it on a wide enough variety of people, or they made it centric on a specific kind of look, and they failed to realize that this is going to be a big problem.
Yeah, you'd think that they would have realized it was going to be a big problem before actually releasing it. Or what's crazy is that, like you were saying, the first majorly reported issues were in 2009. And then 6 years later, there was another huge issue. And then in 2017 now, they're still like,
they're like,
maybe it still doesn't work.
We have to show you that it's not terrible this time. 2015 is not that long ago, by the way. So
for technology though, it is though. Like every 3 months, technology takes a significant jump forward, whether
not
it's
for Apple.
I'm just saying the world of technology.
I have an iPhone, but I realize Apple's problems themselves.
Well, I have an Android, so I heard you besmirching the Androids earlier.
I'm not besmirching any, all phones are fine. Anyway, Apple's Vice President of Public Policy for the Americas, Cynthia Hogan, provided some answers. The accessibility of the product to people of diverse races and ethnicities was very important to us. Face ID uses facial matching neural networks that we developed using over 1 billion images, including IR and depth images collected in studies conducted with the participants' informed consent. We worked with participants from around the world to include a representative group of people accounting for gender, age, ethnicity, and other factors. We augmented the studies we needed to provide a high degree of accuracy for a diverse range of users. In addition, a neural network that is trained to spot and resist spoofing defends against attempts to unlock your phone with photos or masks. It seems like as soon as this idea was incepted or realized by the general public, we thought of ways where it could go wrong, including putting up a photo of someone in front of your face.
Which I feel like is human nature, that as soon as you have something, you go, all right, how can this go wrong? Which isn't necessarily, well, yeah, it's the, the anarchy in you or the pessimism in you, or I always like to consider it, I always try to figure out how can something possibly go wrong so that I can then plan accordingly. And I've been called pessimistic, but at the same time, I feel like that's just.
No, you should work in QA.
Yo, I don't know if I have the patience for that. I'd be like, why are you sending this to me? It clearly doesn't work. I'm back. But yeah, I appreciate that they're now starting to use the infrared and the depth gauges to prevent from photo and things like that, but then also to recognize, because also if a room is dimly lit or if there's multiple people in the room.
What if you gain weight or age over time? It's just like those are things you have to account for as well, which are things that happen. But I feel like the
depth, I think the depth though is also about like how far, like the bridge of your eyebrow ridge versus your nose, because you don't necessarily gain weight across this bone area here.
Oh, that sounds like a challenge.
I shouldn't eat this donut, it'll go straight to my T-zone.
I mean, sometimes people get injections in their face of certain
things and
that
stuff.
Are wibbly.
You're beautiful the way you are.
But what was interesting in Cynthia Hogan's release right there was that she said the word consent, which is interesting because in the past researchers have gotten in trouble for not getting permission to use transgender people's faces for their neural networks without permission. So I like the idea of neural technology improving this kind of facial recognition, but I also like the idea of doing it right, which is
almost
including all different kinds of people, racially, sex, gender, age, size, whatever, and not making the mistakes of 2015 when Google Photos registered black people as gorillas, which is so messed up, especially for such a huge company as Google. You should know better.
If not the biggest in the world.
Yes.
And if the biggest in the world is making such astronomical blunders, like they usually set the industry standard bar, and if literally that's the one they're like, yeah, we'll just deal with these issues, whatever, then what sort of motivation is that to make things better, not just as far as like making it sensitive-wise.
Well, we needed to get up to speed, and then we need to bring the technology up better, but it needs to be functional for its audience, which is people, all people. So what I'm interested in seeing in the future is, you know, those very, very good 3D printed masks that look exactly like Putin and Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un all dancing together at the Halloween
It's so nice seeing them get
festival.
along.
Anyway, I wonder if that'll work. That's my real question. Audience, what do you think about Face ID and how can it be cracked? Please let us know what you think below, and please like and subscribe for more.